Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. This is like, what, the 6th episode of this or something? I don't know. But I'm very full right now, I'll tell you that. But, I mean, even though I'm full, that's still like the most badass thing ever. So, it's good. I mean, look at this. I'm unstoppable. How you gonna stop this shit? Okay. Anyways. After brunch, you know, you just eat 4 plates of fattening, filling, ridiculously food, blah, blah, blah. And then you just get home, and I was standing right here, pondering my life for a moment. It's like, what do I want to play for Hanging with Mangg? It's like, maybe I should do something different. But then I'm like, I really just want to play Shadow of Mordor, and that's what this is about, so screw it. So yeah, we're just going to keep playing this. Oh, I think I actually have to go. I can go do that last. I can go do this. We're gonna go do this. So yeah, I got some stories. I got some stuff to talk about today, as I tend to do. I just realized that. What the hell? Like, the captured thing is completely frozen. It should be. It's probably recording. It's probably record. If it doesn't record, I don't know what it's gonna happen if it doesn't record. Cause I'll have the audio, but I won't have video, so I don't know what I'll do. Nah, it's probably recording. Yeah, I got stuff to say. There's, you know, as usual, there's real life stuff, and then there's real life board game stuff. So we'll start with board games, so people have to watch the whole episode to get to the interesting stuff. Well, it's all interesting to me. I don't know. Board games are the shit now, man. I'm sure we're going to get back into RPGs at some point, but I don't know when. I own, I think, 52 board games now. I've played 24 of them. That's an interesting number. But, no, so, let's see. Last Sunday, played Sentinels in the Multiverse again. And I actually got my brother to join in because we needed a 4th person. And my brother's not a board game player. My brother's not really a game player. I mean, he plays certain computer games, but he's very selective, and he tends to stick to one for, you know, 200 hours or something, and then moves on. But he's really not a board game player. But I was like, Sentinels in the Multiverse, it won't take long, it's cooperative, so, you know, you don't have to know everything, we'll help you out. And we need a 4th, so just do it. And he joined us, and he really liked it. He actually really enjoyed it, and he's like, yeah, you know, I think cooperative board games are probably more my style. And I'm like, alright, well, if we play any cooperatives, you know, we'll let you know. Make Uruks kill each other by branding them. Combat drain Uruks. But no, Sentinels was good. We went up against Baron Blade, who is very easy. Very easy. We really didn't struggle at all. Shit, what's the combat drain? I don't remember now. I think that's it. Yeah. But it's still a fun game, and the app for it came out actually the other day for iOS and Android. Kill all branded units, but I have branded war chiefs, and I don't think I want to do that. So I'm just gonna kill everything. And the app is actually really good. I was playing it, I was enjoying it, and it really helps to learn like all the rules for the game, like timing issues, and like probably my favorite of the characters now is Absolute Zero, because he's just so complicated, and it's just like he's like the rules heaviest one, and it's great. But the app really showed me how everything's done. It was good, so I recommend it. It doesn't work, I mean, it's not perfect on my iPad mini. It doesn't quite have the horsepower to run it perfectly, but it does the job. So that's what we did last Sunday. Last Monday, my mom wanted to play a game, and she liked Jaipur. And Jaipur is a fine game, but it's a little light for my taste. I realize I don't really like too light of games. I mean, I'm a gamer, so I'm gonna prefer heavier games. So I was like, you know what? Well, what about we try a different game, something maybe slightly heavier? She was a little hesitant, but I was like, it's not too bad. So we tried out Dominion. Finally, I got to try it out. Fantastic game, man. This isn't a surprise to anybody that knows about it, because it's like one of the most popular games of the last decade. I mean, everybody knows about Dominion. But, damn, man. Like, and my mom really loved it. I was surprised with how much she loved it. Because she's not a gamer's gamer, but it's not really, I mean, it can be a really gamer's game. You know, not a heavy game, but you can really strategize. And I've read, you know, people that just go, they put up charts and shit with how in-depth it is. And you got to do this, buy this on this turn, and this, and this, and this, and then you do this, and then you disassemble your engine at this point, and blah, 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 and charts, statistics. But, you know, for even a casual gamer like my mom, she had fun with it, because it's just a very unique mechanic that Donald Vaccarino came up with. And clearly, you know, it's a well-loved game. Can I not go back, or oh, I have to travel? Okay. So yeah, Dominion, very good. I'm probably gonna get the Intrigue expansion, maybe for Christmas, because of that. Apparently, that's like a must-buy expansion because of it adds more player interactivity cards. But even with the base game, you get a shit ton of replayability. So, solid game. And we only played it with 2. I don't know how different it is with more people. Let's see. I'm not sure if I talked about this last time. I said, I don't know what, I can't remember. But I did buy the X-Wing Miniatures game core set. I don't remember if I talked about it last time. I felt like I might have said I was thinking about it. But I did buy it. And what really surprised me with the core set was it only comes with 3 minis. comes with 2 TIE fighters and 1 X-Wing, and that's what you get. And you get a whole bunch of cards, and the miniatures themselves don't represent any sort of statistic by themselves. Like, you overlay like a little cardboard tile on top of the mini, or underneath it basically, that represents what statistics it is. So you can have an X-Wing, and the X-Wing can be just a rookie pilot, or it can be Luke Skywalker. And the stats for that then are really different depending on who's piloting it. So then for the Empire side, you can have a TIE fighter that's just, you know, the base guy, or you can have like a special Imperial starfight. You get the point. So there's definitely a whole bunch of variety just in the core set with just an X-Wing and TIE fighters. But I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, because really with just the core set, it's for 2 people. Like on tabletop, they played X-Wing miniatures game one time with Seth Green and his wife, and that was a good episode. I like that episode. But they had a whole bunch of ships, and so they could have 4 people going. And so I'd like to play with more than 2 people, because rarely am I going to just have 2 people. Whereas I can see getting 4 people and just screwing around with a bunch of ships. That'd be fun. But I want to try it out and just see if I'm into this before I put more cash into it. The miniatures are gorgeous, though. Really nice. So we'll see. Trying to think of anything else I bought. I need a combat drain. Shit.
Hit him from the side.
Get combat drain. Get combat drain. Get combat drain. Okay. You've all been combat drained. Whoop. Nice. And there it is. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it does, but boom. I don't think I really bought anything else that I haven't mentioned. I'm planning on buying Pandemic, because it's just so widely talked about, and I feel like I need some more co-ops. And I've played it on iOS, and it's definitely a solid game, so I feel like I kind of need it in my collection. I mean, I have Forbidden Desert, so I have a Matt Leacock game, but especially with the Ebola thing going around, it's like, hey, why not play Pandemic? We can't fight Ebola in real life, but we could do it in this board game. And then I plan on buying Twilight Imperium 3. And that game, man, oh man. I'm not sure if I'll ever get to play it. It's like a $60 board game. I'm not sure if I'll ever get to play it, but I still want to buy it, just to have it on my shelf and learn the rules. Because it's like the most gamers game ever. It's like there's no other board game like it. It's the most epic shit that I know of. I mean, I'm sure there's probably board games that are more complicated. Like, there's probably some, I think there's some like war games I can't remember the name of one where you have to like keep track of every type of like supply in your army, and you have to keep track of like different fuel canisters that your units use, because like a German fuel can is different than a British fuel can or something. Like, you know, there's bullshit like that. But as far as mainstream just Ameritrash epic board games go, I'm not sure there's anything like Twilight Imperium 3. And I own Tom Vassal's #1 game, which is Cosmic Counter, and I can tell you it's a great game. Z Garcia's #1 game is Pandemic, which I'm going to get. And I know that's a pretty solid game. I've played on iOS. But Sam Healy's #1 game is Twilight Imperium. And a lot of people's #1 game is Twilight Imperium 3. Despite maybe playing it like once a year. That's what fascinates me so much. He says the game people play once per year maybe, and yet it's still their favorite game. Like, it's gotta be damn good. I gotta own it. I gotta have it on my shelf. I don't care. But anyways, aside from what I purchased, we had the Halloween board game night last night. The first annual.
Now you'll die. I'm no traitor. Release me at once.
And I tried to get it very thematic. So I had the lights dimmed. I had like the sinister soundtrack playing. I had candles set up. I really wanted it to be atmospheric. And I had my costume on, which was kind of like a Grim Reaper with a creepy mask. And I was just kind of sitting there. And people came in, and I didn't say a word. Like, I just sat there in silence, just staring at them until everybody sat down. And I had Letters from Whitechapel set up. And so I could hear their speculation about what this game was. But I didn't say anything. And then finally I started out and I was like, Whitechapel, London, 1888. You know, a turbulent time if there ever was one, but it's about to get a lot more hectic for the Metropolitan Police Force.
And you'll be sorry you ever crossed me.
Because on the night of August 31st, there will be a murder. The victim is a solitary prostitute, but the killer is a man who will come to be known only as Jack the Ripper. And so I tried to set the tone and the atmosphere really, you know, really legit. But I'm not sure if that entirely came through for everybody else. There were jokes being made and stuff like that. You know, that's what happens when you treat a Halloween board game night like pretty much any other board game night. But it's alright, because we played Letters from Whitechapel. I was Jack the Ripper. And we had 5 people, including my brother, and they all played the cops. And Letters from Whitechapel is, as I mentioned before, it's an asymmetric game, one versus many, where the Jack player commits murders, and the cops then try and track him down and arrest him after the murder. So I can't really say what it's like from the cops' perspective. I can say what it's like from Jack's perspective. From Jack's perspective, it is intense, man. Basically, it's you have to keep a perfect poker face for like an hour and a half while sweat just drips down your forehead in stress, from stress and tension. Because, like, they're gonna be like, if you're playing as Jack, you're gonna just sit there and they have to say everything out loud about what they're discussing. You have to sit there and hear it. And so, sure, you get to hear about their plans and their thoughts, but it's not really going to affect you too much. What's going to affect you is they're going to be like, well, he could have gone down this street, and he could be at 120 right now. And you have to just, like, you know, casually glance at your sheet, and you happen to see that you just moved to 120, and you just look up, and you can't change your expression at all. You can't give it away at all. And it's just like, God, say a different number, move on, I'm not there. And it's very tense. I really enjoyed it. There's not a great amount of like player interactivity or anything like that, or conflict, I guess. It's a cat and mouse game, which is, you know, a bit of a unique thing. There's not too many games like that, but I enjoyed the shit out of it. Now they, as the cops, they had a very tough go of it. I'm not sure if that's just because I was good as Jack the Ripper, or it's just really tough as the cops. I can't say because I haven't played as the police. I mean, they recommend that the most experienced player plays as Jack, and that's, of course, me, because I always know all the rules. And so I knew how the game was played, and none of them, they went in blind, you know, they didn't know any strategies or anything like that. And I even fucked up the first night because I committed the murder close to my hideout, and then I got home in like 3 moves, so they could narrow it down to a general area. But even I still won even then, because they just could not pin down a more localized area where I could be. And so it's tricky for the cops, and they kind of lament. They were like, isn't there some way to make it easier for the police? And it was like, yeah, there's some things you can change to make it a bit easier, but there's also things you can change to make it easier for Jack. And they're like, oh my god, that's ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, because there's like false clues that you can use, and then there's like special letters that you can use which give Jack bonuses. And so we're gonna have to see. I mean, I really want to play as the police next time, because that's probably, I played as Jack because I was the more experienced, but I knew what was going on. I explained all the rules. That would be tough for a first timer. But being the more deductive, the police, the detectives, that's really more my style. So I definitely want to play as the police next time. But it's one of those games where it's like, I don't know how often we're going to just bust it out, you know. That might just be the Halloween game, you know. We play it once per year on Halloween, and that's not terrible. You know, like I said with Twilight Imperium, if it's a game you play once a year and you really like it, okay. And then, so after Letters from Whitechapel, they were really downtrodden. Like, it was like real life. It was funny, because my brother was playing, and through the whole thing, he's just like, we're not going to catch him. We're not going to catch him, guys. And so the other cops were just like, you can't say that! Keep your chin up, man! Come on! You're a constable! It was just hilarious, because you imagine that's probably how it was back in the day. There was probably some constables on the force who were like, we're not going to catch him, man. But yeah, it was good. But they were really downtrodden after the fact, because they kind of got their asses handed to them. And so the original plan was to move on to Dead of Winter, because that's, you know, a pretty Halloween-esque game. But I felt like the mood, they would have just been even more just beaten down into the ground. And I was like, So we moved on to Cosmic Encounter, which is going to pick up anybody's feelings, you know. And I was hesitant originally when I planned Halloween board game night to include Cosmic Encounter, because it's just like, it's not Halloween. I mean, it's not, the theme isn't right at all. But I had it there, and I was like, alright. We will play Cosmic Encounter. And my brother joined us. We convinced him, because I told him so much about it, and everybody, you know, the people that had played it were really hyped. It's like, you just stick around, it doesn't take too long. And so we played Cosmic Encounter. I had the new not the new expansion, but I had Cosmic Incursion, so you could play with 6 people, and it included the new rewards deck for defensive allies, which was great. That's a big deal. I would say, if you are interested in Cosmic Encounter and you're going to pick it up, get Cosmic Incursion. Because you're going to like Cosmic Encounter. I mean, come on. And Cosmic Incursion is just like... It should just be included in the base set. Because you get the 6th player, and the rewards deck is a big deal for incentivizing defensive allies. And we had a great time with it. Of course we did. And I played as the Leviathan. This was a new alien from Cosmic Incursion, the Leviathans. And out of like the 70 aliens in the deck, this is the one that I really wanted to play next. And it's amazing that I got dealt it. I was very excited. It's like, oh my god, Leviathan. I probably would have won if I had picked the other alien. If I had picked the Vulture, I think I would have won. Leviathan's not very good. It's very cool. It's awesome thematically. It's badass, but it's not very good. What the Leviathan does is basically, when he's the offense, with a 6-player game, that might be once. Okay? So when he's the offense, instead of sending ships into an encounter, he sends in his planet with ships on it. Because the Leviathans are basically planet-sized entities. So it's called world ships. And so his planet basically counts as 20 for the attack, plus any ships on it. So it's a huge offense. And I was like, oh man, I got this locked down, because I'm going to... Yeah, I can just go in on offense. I don't have to ally with anybody because I'm my own beastly creation here, and I'll just wreck face. The problem is, it's offense only, which is going to be once per game, maybe twice, depending on how it goes. You're not going to get a third time with it. And so it's just, there's so many better aliens. I mean... You know, I've only played with like 3 aliens myself, so I don't have a great amount of knowledge, but I feel like the more times you get to use your alien's power, the better. And so offense only is like the worst. It's just not used often enough. So that definitely did not help me, but I would have won with the Leviathans. I was about to win. But okay, so this might be a bit cryptic if you haven't played Cosmic Encounter, but I'll try and explain. So for Cosmic Encounter, as you may know, you need to get 5 foreign colonies in order to win. I was at 3, and for some reason, the Ziggy's wife invited me as an ally on her offense. And so if we would have won that encounter, I would have gotten my 4th colony. And then it was about to be my turn, and my hand was loaded, and I had my world ship's power, and I had my Leviathan flare. So pain was about to be brought down on anybody. It was going to happen. I was about to win. So okay. So, yes. It was perfect. I was picturing it in my head. I could see myself in victory, you know? She played an attack card, and Ziggy played a negotiate, which means we automatically win. I was like, yes! Then I think Ziggy busted out an emotion control. which means that any attack cards played that turn are counted as negotiate, which means that the players have to make a deal. I was like, no, that doesn't help me. So my brother at this point was like, he's like, I want to go play Diablo 3. And I was like, do you have a card zap? If you have a card zap, you can play that and we'll end quicker. He's like, all right, fine, card zap. So he card zaps the emotion control. So boom, we're back to us winning. Me winning. I was very happy. And then Ryan, Mert, he's like, oh, card zap. So he card zaps the card zap for the emotion control. So the emotion control is back on. And I was like, go fuck yourself. You're not even involved in this bullshit. He wasn't involved at all in anything. He was nothing. He wanted the negotiate to come back on, and I don't know why. Probably because he could sense I was winning. But I don't care. It was bullshit. I haven't won yet, damn it. And so the negotiate went on. I was pissed. But it's about to get worse because I'm yelling at Mert. They're doing their negotiations. And suddenly I see Ziggy with just a smug look on his face. I'm like, what happened? Apparently, his wife gave him 2 colonies in exchange for 1. Which means Ziggy just won. She just handed him the win. She just, not even like a dumb mistake. Like, she's just like, yeah, you can win, go ahead. Like, that makes me not want to play games with couples, ever. Ever. That's so... What? I don't... That shouldn't... That... That's not even like... Not even a shared victory. They could have just taken a shared victory, but I pounded in their heads at the start. I'm like, if you go for a shared victory, you are a bitch. You are just a pussy bitch. And I will say that till the end of days for Cosmic Encounter. Because it's just like, at the start of the game, you can just be like, hey, we should negotiate. Alright, I'm going to give you 5 colonies, and you give me 5 colonies. Hey, shared victory, boom! It's like, go fuck yourself. You win by yourself, or you lose. That's it. Fucking shared victory. But no, it wasn't even that. It was just, here, you can win the game. And it was because she didn't really care for it, and she wanted it done with. But it's just like... I was so flabbergasted. But yeah. 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 So, it was still a damn enjoyable game. I mean, but you have an expectation when you play board games that everybody's kind of, you know, competitive, I guess, unless it's a cooperative, but it's not. It's not! Like, it was funny with my brother. Before we started, he's like, is this a cooperative game? And we're like, kind of. You'll probably have to make alliances, but not really. And so he played anyways, and in the end, he really liked it. He's like, that was a very good game. And I'm like, damn straight. But early on, like, he and I allied up for something. Oh, no, he and I made... No, we negotiated. That's right. He played an emotion control or something like... Yeah, I think he played an emotion control. Because he was going to lose an encounter with me. And so, we had to negotiate. And I had his flare card. I'm like, I'll give you your flare card if you give me a colony. Which is just... I mean, that's just... If you... I don't think I'd ever do that. I mean, it depends on what my flare was. But rarely would I allow such a thing on my end. But that's, like, perfect for me. I was like, fine, you can have your fucking flare. Give me a colony. And he's like, alright. And so from then on, he thought we had like an unbreakable bond. Like this is an alliance till the end of days. And it was so funny. I never really betrayed him. Because he was just in last place for the whole time. I felt there was no threat from him. But he's just like, every time he and I were both invited to ally with somebody and I joined them, he's like, well, you know, Mangg and I have this alliance, so I gotta go with him. And everybody else is just like, that's not true, that's not how it works. It was also funny because of the rewards deck. So anytime I was on the defense or joining the defense and people were like, you know, debating about what to do, I was just like, don't you want these sweet rewards? I mean, these are great cards. Like, this is like the reason that you go join the defense, man. And then when I was on the offense, like, you don't need those fucking cards. You need colonies to win. It's just whatever you have to say. Fantastic game, man. That's a game I could just play all day. So yeah, we played Letters from White Chat, we played Cosmic, and then that was pretty much it. I would prefer Halloween board game night to go on for longer than that, but there was also a party going on, as I mentioned, and so we did want to check out the party because one of our good friends who lives in California was leaving today, so it was like our last chance to see him. So we headed then to the party. Me, Ziggy, and his wife. And so we drive over there. We just see this huge lineup of cars. And we're just like, oh god. Walk in there, and as soon as we enter this home, we just get blasted with a sweet, pungent smell of urine. And then as we delved further into the basement, I described it as somebody peed on a pile of caramel. I don't know how that smell came about. I don't know what it was. But that's what it smelled like, if you can imagine it. Nice. Yeah. And that party, man, oh man. Right? I am happy to be at the first half of a party. I do not want to be there for the second half of a party. Things start to devolve quickly. Like, it's an exponential thing with alcohol. There was a lot of bottles around, let's say that. And so it was just like showing up late to a party dead sober is just, and then you're not really drinkers, so you're not planning on catching up quickly, you know, you're not planning on just getting trashed. You can join in on the fun. You're just there as an observer, you know. It's just I mean, some people weren't too bad. Some people were okay. Studs surprisingly wasn't naked. I mean, that's good. One of our friends was dressed as Wolverine, but only in the loosest sense, because he kind of lost his costume at some point. So really he just had claws on and very short shorts. And I asked him, I was like, I don't recall the comic where Wolverine wore short shorts. He's like, it's when Wolverine became a slut. And I was like, oh, I must have missed that one. And, yeah, that was a little disturbing. But my good buddy Scott, who you may know used to play a D&D character named Donnie McFly, he was pretty far gone when I got there, man. And his girlfriend, who is the roommate of the girl that I'm trying to get with, she was also pretty far gone. And really, the best way to describe it is I think they felt like they were at a high school party. Or maybe not even they felt like that, but that's what it was. They were both trash, so it's like they just had their first few beers as a 16-year-old or something. They were just standing in the middle of the party making out. Like, not, like, that, I haven't been to many parties. I've been to a good chunk. I've never seen that because I didn't party when I was in high school. I started going to parties when I was like not 20. And people didn't, our group of friends didn't do that.
Look at that category.
For whatever reason. So it was just like, okay, you're just gonna stand there and make out in the middle of a party. Okay. And then his girlfriend threw up all over the floor, and she couldn't stand straight. And it was just like, like, I felt like I just made up for anything I missed in high school right now. Not me myself, but I have witnessed it. Just disgraceful. So yeah, we didn't stay too long, and we went to a restaurant. A few of us that were well, you know, Ziggy and his wife were sober with me, and we took one other guy who was okay. And I got some nachos, and they were really good, and then we went home, and that was it. And I don't know. It's I mean, I know I don't drink, and I don't judge, and most of the time they're pretty good. I mean, they're an okay group. We go out every weekend, and they drink, but it's never anything really bad most of the time. But at parties, man, that's just not my scene. I would have probably preferred to play board games. Continue to play board games. But it is what it is. So then there's just the issue of this this chick. My buddy, we were sitting at Applebee's, and somebody mentioned, I mentioned like Dolphin's Tale. I don't know in what context, but that movie Dolphin's Tale 2. And so my buddy's like, oh, you know, Katie said her favorite game as a kid was like some dolphin game. And me and my other friend were immediately just like, Echo? Like, almost in unison. He's like, yeah, Echo. And I'm just like, holy shit. Just the fact that a girl has a favorite game as a kid is good enough. But the fact that it's Echo the Dolphin, which is such a strange game, that's just great. And he's like, yeah, she never got past the first level. I'm just laughing my ass off. My other friend's like, I don't know if you want that, you know, her motor skills are only going to continue to decline. I'm like, yeah, that's okay. But so that, yeah, you know, just another nugget of information. She also works at Starbucks. And so we were talking about just taking her out for coffee. I've never had coffee. I'll confess. It's not that I'm opposed to it. I just feel like it's like alcohol, you know? Well, I mean, it kind of is like they're both drugs. But I feel like people get into coffee for whatever reason, and then they have like a dependence on it. It's like, oh, I need my coffee in the morning, otherwise I don't function properly. And it's like, why would I want that? Why do I need that in my life? I function just fine already. Like, how is that different than like, well, I need my heroin every day, otherwise I don't function properly? I don't get it. I mean, like, we have energy drinks now if you need energy, so I don't get it. Not that I would say any of this to a person that may enjoy coffee. It's just my personal perspective. But you know, if we went out for coffee, I'm not sure what I would do. It was suggested to me to get tea instead, because it's kind of sophisticated, but it's not coffee. And I got nothing against tea. I don't drink it too often, but I've had it. Or I could just be like, hey, I've never had coffee before, what should I get? Either way. But that's besides the point. The original plan with that girl was to kind of just like keep it chill and just hopefully maybe eventually we go out as a group again and she happens to be there and I happen to just kind of talk to her. Obviously much better than before, but you know. And so then I was just like, you know, we're not teenagers, you know. You just be like, you know, my friend is interested in getting to know you better. You want to like go for some coffee with him? And it's just like, you know, like a lunch thing, and if she's not interested, then boom, just get it out of the way. If she is fine with that, then great. So she was out of town for most of this weekend. She got back today, so I think the plan was that her roommate was going to talk to her about it and see what happened. I have yet to hear from it, but also she's probably incredibly hungover at this point because of the whole throwing up thing. I don't know. But we'll see. And so I mentioned it to her last night. I don't know how much she remembers of it. She probably doesn't even remember me being there, really. But I was just like, you know, if I could just get an endorsement from you, that'd be great. Like it's fucking Jurassic Park. And she's like, yeah, you have my endorsement. It's great. But then I also met the other roommate. The one that I'm not allowed to hit on because it's my friend's sister. And so I met her at the second reception for Ziggy's wedding. And I was like, oh, you're Anna. Like, yeah. And then I'm like, apparently I'm not allowed to hit on you because I'm friends with this guy. She's just like, oh, okay. And so then conversation ensued. And afterwards, I got the impression she didn't really care for my existence entirely. She was kind of hard to read. Like, I'm not sure if she was just she's kind of always like that, or she just didn't like me. I'm not sure, but I have a I'm not going to go into detail with all that was said, but I have a tendency how do I want to say that? There are times when I get into a different mood. Not even like a mood, like a different personality almost than my normal. Like, this is my normal personality right now. But sometimes I get a little wordy. And by a little wordy, I mean a lot of wordy. Like, I can't stop myself from speaking. And I know I like to talk a lot. You guys know I like to talk a lot. But sometimes I like to talk a hell of a lot. And I like to use a lot of different... Like, I become like a thesaurus, kind of. And I also start to... I guess almost stutter would be the term. But I repeat a word like 8 times before I finish the sentence. I know it's kind of hard to understand from my describing it. And I can't really give an example because I'm not in that personality right now. But it's a very unique personality. And so I also have a propensity for sycophancy as an example of being wordy. And so I don't know, she didn't seem to love me. And so I was like, alright, without the bullshit, I think Katie sounds like an interesting girl, and I just want to get to know her better. So, if I don't have, you know, your support here, I hope at least you're not going to, you know, hinder this in any way. That would be nice. And she just kind of said, uh-huh. She said that a lot. And I was just like, I don't know. But my buddy, her brother, was just like, I'm going to need you to do this for me. I'm going to need you to make this happen. And she just kind of looked at him. And he's just like, I'm going to need you to make this happen. And she's like, oh yeah? And he's like, he's a really good guy. And she's like, mm-hmm. And he's like, if Katie would have heard the speech that he gave at that wedding, no problem. And I'm just like, damn it. Why did nobody record it? Panties be dropping. But yeah, that's life, I guess. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. He was the guy that went to the restaurant with us later, and I was just like, as we're leaving, I'm just like, just please tell your sister to not screw me over. He's like, all right, I will. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I would like it to work out. That's all I can say. Because she just sounds like a really cool, wholesome girl. She doesn't sound like a slut, and I don't want a slut. I may say I want one, but I don't. It's gonna sound really creepy, and I probably wouldn't say this to my friends, but luckily I can say it to you. But personality-wise, she kind of reminds me of my mom. I really don't want that to be creepy, and I don't want it to be Oedipal. But I just mean, like, my mom is like the best person I know. Like, my mom is kind of like Mother Teresa, basically, as far as good people on this planet. Like, I hope to someday be half as good of a person as my mother is. And so, this Katie chick reminds me of her. And that's just like, I don't want to fuck that up. You know. I feel like I probably already have. But that's the reason that I'm really, like, hopeful, I guess. I don't know. I'm not Oedipus. Please don't say such things. But yeah, we'll see. I wish I would have heard by now, but she's probably still puking in her bed, so not the Katie girl, the roommate, you know. But yeah, I wish I would have told you. But now you're gonna have to wait a week, so hopefully I find out within the week. My buddy said that she's the type of girl that would be willing to get to know somebody before dismissing them. And I was like, that's good, because every other girl I've been interested in is not that type of person. I need people's help to just get me that lunch date. After that, it's on my own, I know. But hopefully the Mangg charm comes through at that point. This is kind of just like... This is really sad, isn't it? This is me playing a video game while talking about prospective relationships to like 35 people. And I don't really care. Board games and girls, man. Board games and girls. Maybe someday I will combine the two in a glorious moment, but for now that is not the case. So I think that's going to wrap up this episode of Hanging with Mangg. I hope you have enjoyed listening to me talk for an hour. Give me some thoughts, some opinions, all that good shit. But my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.